Welcome everyone to Inform New Hampshire. My name is Dean. This is Richie to my right, my co-host, and we're broadcasting every Monday evening, 7:30, Thursday mornings, and Saturday, Sunday mornings on Manchester Public Television, Channel 23. We are, Richie and I are both state coordinators for the National Liberty Alliance. We believe that America is in great peril. Much of the news and information that Richie and I share with you, you will not find in the mainstream media. You won't find in the historical textbooks for our government-run educational system. So it's a lot of information that is unique and invaluable to a populace that would want to maintain their republic and possibly restore the founding principles by which that republic was formed. So we believe the National Liberty Alliance has a powerful solution to our problems, and that being the common law grand jury. The common law grand jury is a jury of 25 individuals who get together in secret and deliberate on suspected crime or suspected overreach on the part of local government, state government, federal government, and they proceed forward with indictments or presentments that would be enforceable by, say, a sheriff and prosecutable by, a jury or a judge. So that was taken from us in 1946 via the use of a footnote in a legal proceeding. And America was asleep and content to go out and produce. As usual throughout history, the producers are working and the usurpers are clawing their way to the top in government institutions, educational institutions, and places that leech off of the producers. Read Ayn Rand, Atlas Shrugged. You'll get a full dose of what I mean by that. So the National Liberty Alliance is at nationallibertyalliance.org. They have a fantastic civics course, 120 hours, that will educate you on all of the things, most of the things that we attempt to educate you on here, inform you of. This is Inform New Hampshire. We have a YouTube channel called Inform New Hampshire, as well as a Facebook page. Please stop by and subscribe. And we hope to provide you with news and information that will enlighten you and help you to understand some of the problems that we face. Today we're going to go over a number of things, and prior to starting, I just want to have Richie mention our good friend Jerry DeLamus, who is a political prisoner under the usurpation of the federal government, which is the United States of America Incorporated, a privately owned for-profit corporation masquerading as a government, simply providing government services, and they are violating all of our fundamental rights as well as our constitutional protections by coming into our states and kidnapping people for trumped-up charges. Jerry being a victim of that. I just want to have Richie speak to that a little bit. Thank you, Richie.
Yeah, I wanted to mention, too, that to support what Dean was saying on the common law, check out U.S. versus Williams. It's a Supreme Court decision that basically supports what he just said. The common law grand juries belong to the people. They don't belong to any branch of the government. But check that out. Don't take our word for anything. Read it yourself. In terms of Jerry, yeah, he has been railroaded. He's in prison now, or in jail, for 4 months, which is disgraceful is what it is, because he hasn't done a damn thing other than exercise his rights guaranteed by God and no one else. But he's out there, and I know he's having a hard time of it, and so is his wife, because they have particular problems at home that they're dealing with, or Sue is now. So if you could see it clear in your heart, please send him a couple dollars, whatever you can afford to help him out, and you can send that to www.freejerrydelemus.com, and it's JERRYDELEMUS, and I'm sure that his family would appreciate it, and Jerry also. Jerry's a good man. That's why he's been silenced. He's a good man. So thank you for that. Me and Dean talked about this, and we wanted to roll this show into episode 19. Last week was episode 20 with Pat Murphy. Hopefully we can tie all of these in together, but we missed a lot on episode 19, and we missed some. We want to go back over it and touch upon it. So we're going to do that now. What I said in episode 19 was that what is wrong with America. And I claim, as a lot of other people do in this country, that it's ignorance. Ignorance of the United States Constitution. And it's funny, I usually have it to hold up here today, but I forgot it. I didn't bring one.
This is the
So
first
I feel-
time I've seen you without it.
I feel like I'm naked without it, but yeah, the Constitution and the ignorance of it is the problem with this country, and I think I demonstrated that, but I will further today, along with Dean. One of the first things I'd like to bring up is people, police officers, elected officials, we'll start that way, take an oath to uphold and defend the Constitution. They do that because Article 6, Paragraph 2 says they will do that. That's what makes them a constitutional officer. And I've heard cops, chiefs of police, sheriffs, all say, and I've said it myself too, by the way, I don't know, I'm not an attorney, which really gets me because you don't have to be an attorney to read that little book, the Constitution. It's a little booklet, I should say. And every law book in America is, what's the word I'm looking for? It's guided by the Constitution. It has to be in compliance with the Constitution. If it's not, it's null and void. That little tiny book, that's why it's so important that you know it. And the other point I wanted to make is that when a cop, chief of police, sheriff says, well, I don't know, I'll ask an attorney. When you ask that attorney, and that attorney gives you advice, and I'm not suggesting the advice is good, bad, or indifferent. What I am saying is this. That attorney didn't take an oath. They take an oath to the bar, the British Accreditation Registry, the same, wait a minute, Britain. That's the one we broke away from in 1776, wasn't it? That's who they take their oath to. So if they give you bad advice, or if you misinterpret it, or whatever the reason is, and you follow through with it, guess who's responsible for that? The attorney or you? It's not the attorney. He didn't take an oath. He's got nothing to lose. You're liable. Someone takes you to court, and they can take you into U.S. District Court, and they can sue you, and they can own your house. And that's a fact. So you should make damn sure when you take that oath, you know the law. Not the statutes and the codes and all this other garbage. The law. United States Constitution, the law of the land. No other law is called the law of the land, just the Constitution. And I don't know if you have anything to add to that, Dean, or if you want to go to the next one, but I'll defer to you.
Yep, I'll move on here. Well, you just went over the legislatures and law enforcement, and the general public are ignorant of the law of the land, knowledgeable about statutes because that is what has been shoved down their throats all their lives. Law enforcement and their warrants are mostly unlawful. Patriot Act, NDAA, and others are unconstitutional, a violation of the Fourth Amendment. It's interesting, I just sent out a thing on the Fourth Amendment today. We've pretty much, at this point, lost our Fourth Amendment rights, and the Supreme Court just validated that recently.
Well,
So-
they can't validate it because the courts can't take it away from us. It's ours. But
Right.
I understand what you're saying. They
Yeah.
did. The Fourth Amendment says that in order for them, you're free in your person, papers, whatever. But the point I wanted to make about that is in order for them to get a search warrant, they have to have probable cause. And the warrant that they issue has to be signed with wet ink, a wet ink signature, not a rubber stamp, and not by some clerk of the court. It's got to be signed by a judge and supported with an affidavit, notarized affidavit. Then they can go serve that search warrant, and they can search for the things listed on there, and only those things. What they're doing today, and I I really get angry about this, especially with my own family members. I tell them, why are you flying on the airplane? I refuse to. I haven't flown in 15 years. I'd rather walk or drive or take a bicycle. I'm not going to allow the government to search me because I'm going down to Disneyland to see Goofy. All right? They have no authority under the law to search me. I don't care about, we're making you safe. Get the hell out of my way. And by the way, making me safe, there's been over 400 arrests by the TSA. Oh, wait a minute, I got that backwards. There was over 400 TSA agents arrested in the past 15 years. They have made no arrest on any terrorists whatsoever. The shoe bomber, the underwear bomber, they were caught by passengers on the airplane. So they're a crackerjack staff, and it's a joke. And the other question I have for the government is, why is the government providing security for a publicly owned airlines? It's not a government airlines, it's a publicly owned. You own it, the stockholders own it. So why are they providing security? They don't do it in the grocery stores. They don't even do it in the banks.
Careful, they'd like to.
Well, they will be there shortly, but what I'm saying is, why don't they? Doesn't anybody care? Doesn't anybody question this? If your rights mean so little to you, don't be surprised at what's happening, because they're all going to disappear in time. Go ahead, Dean, if you want to.
Unconstitutional means a violation of the law, breaking the law. Charges should always follow. Judges and lawyers are contributing to the demise of America, and it's all about Federal Reserve notes, which, by the way, is counterfeit money. Gold and silver are the real money.
Yeah, I just wanted to say one thing on the what was the first part of that?
Judges and lawyers.
Before that.
Unconstitutional means a violation of the law.
A lot of people, you hear everybody say it, oh, it's unconstitutional, it's unconstitutional. And I could be wrong about this, but I genuinely believe that people don't know what they're saying. The United States Constitution is the supreme law of the land. When something is unconstitutional, somebody is violating that law, breaking that law. Charges should be brought against that person, and whatever, they should be tried for it. If they're found innocent or guilty, that's the system. But the charges should be brought. Everybody says it so nonchalantly, it's unconstitutional. Do you know what that means? They're breaking the law. The supreme law of the land. Every law has to be in compliance with the Constitution. If it means nothing to you, then expect what you're getting now and worse. If it means something to you, stand up for your rights. There's plenty of ways to do it. What happened to what happened to the Constitution? There's a good video, a documentary that a guy made. He did an outstanding job. The other one is Season of Treason, Kurt Kellenbach. Trying to think of his name. Walter Burien, who does CAFRs, the Biggest Game in Town, I believe is the name of it. These are all on YouTube, documentaries you can find. Start waking people up, your neighbors up. This is something that's a serious matter, and we're all involved in. If you don't know the Constitution, you don't know about all these other things that are going on. Unconstitutional, what does it mean? All right. Do you know that it says in Article 6, Section 2, that all judges are bound thereby? They're bound to the Constitution. Yet they violate it every day of the week. And does anybody care? I do. I'm going to try like hell to put a stop to it. With your help. It's not right. It's not right. We should be living like this. Our standard of living is going down the drain. And me and Dean talked about this last week. I think we hit it on the head. I think the people, the globalists, or whatever you want to call them, the elite, Illuminati, whatever name you give to them, I think they moved everything over to China, took all the industry over to China. They're going to try to turn us into a third world nation, which they are doing pretty successfully. And they're going to have their headquarters over there, and they're going to start a new currency. And they're going to go through the same thing that they did with us in 1913 with the Federal Reserve notes. That's my opinion, and you could say I'm wrong, crazy, and everything else, and I could be. But everything points to that. We'll see if they get away with it. It's up to us to stop it.
Judges and lawyers take an oath to the bar, which you already pointed out is the British Accreditation Registry, and not to the United States and to the people they are supposed to serve. So Article 4, Section 2 of the Constitution requires all judges to obey the Constitution, which you mentioned. All judges are bound thereby. Attorneys' ability to make money on people are severely curtailed in common law. So in other words...
Well, by that, you have the common law grand jury. The common law grand jury is the ultimate trier of fact. So when they sit and hear a case, say, for example, I sue Dean, and I'm only saying that because he's got more money than me. I sue Dean, and I get an award, and then the jury says, yeah, $10,000 for damages or something. Well, Dean has to pay me the money. A lawyer gets nothing. You get nothing because there's no need for them to do anything. Isn't justice about the truth? If, for example, I don't know, Dean ran into my car and did this damage, but he took off because he didn't want to get caught, because he just got in an accident 2 weeks before that. All right, he's trying to hide. He doesn't want to get caught. I totally lost my train
Not trying
of
to
thought.
hide that I did damage and I caused you harm. So
Yes.
it makes me liable.
It makes him liable, and under an ideal situation, he would come up to me and say, Richie, I hit your car. I know there's damage. I don't have the money to pay for it, but I'll try to work something out with you. Well, if that doesn't happen, then it goes to the jury administrators, and they work it out between the three of us. If the jury administrators can't do that, it goes to the grand jury. Their decision is final.
Trial jury.
That's how it's supposed to work. No, not a trial. It doesn't have to be a
You
trial
don't do
jury.
a trial, okay.
No, it doesn't have to be a trial jury.
Right.
The grand jury can indict. I mean, it is a crime if you damaged my property and left, and you didn't tell anybody, you know. But that doesn't necessarily mean you should be in prison for it.
Not at all.
That's the thing we got to stop.
Well, this is one of the biggest contentions that I have with our system is that in common law, it's actually common sense, and a crime cannot be committed if there is no injured party, and the state cannot be an injured party. So if someone injures you, you have a right to a remedy for that injury, and that gets handled in a court. What's a court? A court is a show. It's a stage where you get to present your story, somebody else presents their story, and a group of your peers, the jury, they are the judge, not some administrator sitting around with a black robe in a costume. So that's how common law works. It's where we, the people, get together and we hear out the stories and we make decisions based on the truth and common sense. So what Richie, or what this next sentence that I was just reading points out is that the real money is being made by the courts, which are privately owned corporations. Once again, they're there for profiting off of us, and they're owned by international bankers, not by United States, not by we the people. So the real money is being made in Admiralty or equity jurisdiction, which is fraud 90% of the time. So why is that fraud, Richie?
Well, let me just back up because I don't want to lose my train of thought here.
Okay.
When Dean was talking about the state cannot be a victim, what is meant by that, and this is something that you have to know, and this is why we're having the problem that we're having. If a state representative, well, we won't say a state representative, say a cop, sheriff, chief of police, whomever, it doesn't really matter, someone who is an official, violates your rights, okay? Right now, it's not a big deal. I mean, I say it's not a big deal. It's not a big deal because nothing's done about it. But under common law, the state cannot be a victim. So you can't sue the state, but you can go after the person who violated your rights, and you can take their home, their job, their car, any valuables that they have. That's the way the system should be to ensure that people don't do what they're doing. The governor of New Hampshire turned around and vetoed this legislation on you don't need a permit to carry a gun, or you don't need a permit to carry a gun. And for Governor Hassan, who doesn't maybe understand English too well, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. It's pretty clear to most of us here in America. So for her to say, no, I'm not going to sign this, I'm going to veto this bill, she's going to go against the Constitution, well, guess what? She should be sued personally, or she should be tried for treason. But they do it all the time. Obama, too. I'm going to take your guns. Hey, go to another country. Don't try that here. You know, taking a person's rights is not something like, well, we have a squabble over land rights. Well, there's water coming down here, and we need 2 feet of the river. Those are little squabbles that you have. Taking my rights that were given to me by God, that's something that you want to fight for. And I will fight for mine. I hope other Americans are there. By the way, I'm not advocating a revolution or anything. Just stand up for your rights. You men out there, be men. Stand up. Don't be pushed around by people. You have your rights. You have to defend them. If you don't exercise them, they're going to be taken. Just like with the airlines, the TSA. Every time you get on a plane, you get searched. Is that necessary? You haven't caught one person. Anyway, that's...
Yep. All right, there are 7 articles and 27 amendments in the Constitution. We, the people, made that document small for a reason. The Constitution requires Congress to meet at least once per year. See Article 1, Section 4, Clause 2. That is because the Founding Fathers knew that there would be not much to do in Congress. Today they make $180,000 per year and play in Congress for the entire year. They also gave themselves their own pay raises over the years. I might add that they have ongoing benefits that are better than anybody's in the country. They ignore the laws and make themselves immune to the laws. And once they've been in for 2 years, they have, for the rest of their lives, the extension of those benefits and an income, which is just ridiculous. All right. Do I need to say anything about that?
No, the only thing I wanted to say is that the fact that the Founding Fathers said that they must meet at least once per year, and I believe it's in the month of December, tells me that they knew there wouldn't be much for Congress to do. If there was an issue they needed to resolve, well, at least we'll have them come in once a year to take care of it. Now all they do is come into Congress, and all year long they do fundraisers to get millions and millions and millions upon dollars for this stupid fundraising to get elected. If they spent that much time working to preserve the rights of the people they're supposed to help, we'd be in a great shape right now. But instead, it's all about them and getting reelected. Because if you're making $180,000 a year, and I've never made that much personally, I wouldn't mind making that much as a paycheck, and I'm sure most people wouldn't. It's a damn good paycheck. No one ever authorized them to make that kind of money. It was supposed to be a volunteer group. Volunteer. Because I'm patriotic and I want to give to my country. Like Kennedy said, yeah, he gave it to the country, all right. And I don't mean JFK. Ted Kennedy more specifically. But these people like the Clintons, all these foundations, they got the same attitude. Let's screw America and take whatever we want. Or whatever we can get. We, the people, have to stop it.
All right. Thanks. Where are common law courts in America? They are guaranteed to the people in the Constitution, which is the supreme law of the land. And where are the common law grand juries? They are guaranteed to the people under the 5th and 7th Amendments of the Constitution. See U.S. v. Williams, 1992. Also see Section 61 of the Magna Carta, 1215, for the origin of that.
Yeah, right now the Article 3 courts, which are considered common law courts, are U.S. district courts only. They don't have the common law jury system that we are supposed to have. We, the people, are supposed to have. They, and I don't mean the people that are there now, it was done in 46, so you got to excuse the people who are there now. But if they look at this, they'll find out the good people that are in the court system. Look at U.S. versus Williams. Look at Section 61 of the Magna Carta and find out if I'm telling the truth. And if I am, you should be saying, well, we've made a terrible mistake and the people are being harmed. We should give that back to them. But these juries don't exist the way they should exist. Common law doesn't exist the way they should exist. Common law, by the way, the structure of common law, I don't think I went over this the last one, very quickly is, at the top of the pyramid, and it's a pyramid structure, is God. Underneath God is the people. And underneath that is the government. And that's how it does. The bench, as they call it, in a courtroom, is considered to be God in common law. We represent the people, but we do things according to God, nature's law, common law, whatever you want to refer to it. Everybody has a different name. To me, it's all the same. And the government is beneath us. We made them in the Constitution. So we are the sovereign. They are our public servants. That's why they have that name, public servants. Now they've turned it around, and if you'll excuse me, what they are is they service the public is what they're doing. Not very good because we're all feeling it, but enough said about that.
If an elected official or law enforcement professional takes an oath to uphold and defend the Constitution, that means they are sworn to uphold and defend the Bill of Rights, which is the people's rights. Failure to uphold and defend the Constitution, the foundation of America, after taking an oath to do so, is an act of high treason, and nothing more or less.
Yeah, I think that's pretty simple. If the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution are the foundation of our country, and they are, nobody disputes that. In the Bill of Rights, you can throw that in it. It's all the Constitution. Then if somebody takes an oath to uphold and defend the Bill of Rights and the Constitution, and then they turn around and try to take your rights via the gun laws, you can't have a gun, you can't do this, you can't do that, you need a license to drive a car because of our commerce laws, which is all garbage. You have the right to travel. They can't take certain rights from you, but they do that. How do you deal with a person like that? They're tearing down the fabric of our country, and nothing's being done. Nothing's being done because the common law jury system is gone. It was gone in 1946. The primary function of the jury system, common law jury system, is to root out corruption in government. If it's not there, how the hell are you going to root it out? You can't. So they just go unabated. They have nothing to worry about. They're going to steal all our rights, steal all our resources, steal all our money, and they've already done that anyway. It's a question of can we fight and get it back? I say yes.
All right, ignorance is not knowing, being ill-informed, and it does not mean we are stupid. It just means not informed. There is a remedy for ignorance, and that is the civics course, which we spoke about in the beginning at the nationallibertyalliance.org. It's an outstanding, free, 120-hour civics course, which would go over much of what we've been going over here on this show. I want to move on real quick here, Richie, because this is important. Sheriffs, and we are almost out of time, sheriffs are the first line of defense against tyrannical overreach of the federal or state governments. They are the chief law enforcement officer, titled CLEO, in the state, and they are the last line of defense for the people. That is why they are elected by the people, and they represent a vast area. They do represent their county because every county has a sheriff, but sheriffs have jurisdiction over the entire state if need be, if it affects their county. So before you say anything about that, I just want to point out that Richie is running for sheriff here in Hillsborough County for much of this reason that we just read to you. So I'm hoping that you will take note that he is someone who would actually uphold his oath to the Constitution, knowing that he's there to protect your rights, and knowing that the current and previous sheriffs have colluded with banks to completely overrun people's rights to the extent of taking people's homes without due process, using SWAT teams to do so, even if they're feeble old women. They'll handcuff them and throw them in a vehicle. So it's disgusting. It's a massive violation of our fundamental rights, and a massive violation of our protected rights from the Constitution. So anything you want to say about that, Richie?
Just very quickly, the reason that I decided to run for sheriff is I tried to contact the Sheriff's Association in New Hampshire to speak to them about these issues, because I believe they're ignorant. Like all of us, I just believe they're ignorant. I don't think they're bad people. I think they're ignorant. And I was trying to show them the error of their ways, if you will. Now, not many people, some people don't want to admit it. Oh, I'm not wrong. You know, I'm too macho. I'm too this. I'm too that. Whatever the reason is.
All right.
The reality is, they were wrong. I wanted to show them that. I never even got a response from them, so I decided to run for sheriff.
So just one last quick thing. We only got 50 seconds. Richie and I didn't come here to say you're ignorant, but we did come here to point out our ignorance. We were horrified by our own ignorance, and that's why we are doing this. So I want to thank you for watching the show. Please watch us next week, and best wishes. We appreciate it.
Share this, please. Share this with people that you might not think would watch it.
Thank you.
Thank you.